Hello, everybody. It is the second weekend of June 2022, and this is the weekly broadcast. And June is my second is Pride History Month, my second favorite month.
Is it history? I thought it was. Isn't it just Pride Month?
And according to the Washington Times, America's newspaper, Pride Month sees spike in drag queen events for children.
Well, I think we saw this spike a little bit before Pride Month.
Yeah,
But
it's June 2nd. So, do you think the article is going to be critical?
I don't think so.
A growing number of family-friendly drag queen story hours and dance performances open to children are becoming a mainstay of June Pride Month celebrations. Blah 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 blah.
I mean, the
Um,
quotations could be read as.
Drag has even come to zoos. Conservative activists and groups are criticizing such events.
Wait, hold on. I'm not gonna lie. The line that drag has even come to zoos sounds really critical for some reason. Like out of context, that just sounds like you're trying to insult the situation.
Well, that's because they're speaking a different language from you.
Yeah, it's true. But
And apparently many parents don't want organizations advertising drag events to their children.
I wonder why.
Sexualized dance performance featuring adult males dressed as women is not appropriate entertainment for children, Miss Kilganon said.
I have to agree.
Racist. Racist.
How's that racist?
Racist. Bug Out Leadership, an LGBT business network, says public and private organizations invite children to drag events to be inclusive of the broad spectrum of the communities that they serve.
Sorry, what?
Drag is just one type of entertainment among many, and as an art form goes back many centuries. Just ask Shakespeare.
No, that's not the same thing,
That's the
honey.
end.
I literally studied fucking English.
That's the end of the article.
Art. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
They really had nothing to say, other
Look at
than
what- look
like
at-
ridiculous talking points.
Look at the related article. Nancy Pelosi guest stars on drag queen TV show.
Why? What for?
You're just having 80-year-old politicians on drag queen TV shows, apparently.
Well, alrighty then.
Politicians who allow this are trying to disarm you. Hell no. Hell to the no, no.
Yeah.
This is funny. Indianapolis Children's Museum had to apologize for selling Juneteenth watermelon salad.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I would have been totally okay with this, but the fact that like someone got upset that it was watermelon,
Juneteenth watermelon salad.
it's like
No, but it's so hacky. It's so like
it is, of course. Of course. That's
How
like
dare
that's
you.
them trying to pander and doing it wrong.
How dare you? At least do it right. Anyways, I bought Bitcoin at 70,000 to hedge against 7% inflation. I'm now down 45% in 3 months.
You
We
get what you
need
pay
another
for.
flood.
Yeah.
Which you paid for nothing. When the corporations are advertising your movement, you aren't the resistance.
Well, duh.
New fees to counter inflation. So
yes.
next time you get a receipt, consider taking a closer look. So they add like what more places are charging for water.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going here. Businesses are getting creative with new fees and charges, from the fuel surcharge to deal with high gas prices to non-cash adjustment for using credit instead of cash, kitchen appreciation fees, or simply temporary fee.
Honestly, that particular point pisses me off because the entirety of COVID, they all switched to cashless.
Yeah. Romano Macaroni Grill said that a $2 temporary fee is being added to bills to offset macroeconomic pressures. MasterCard and Visa raised transaction fees for many merchants in April, which the National Retail Federation, along with a group of retailers, said was driving up inflation. New York City Council allowed restaurants to temporarily add a COVID-19 recovery charge of up to 10% of total bills, but required that the menu and bill clearly disclose the charge.
They don't want to act like they were the problem. So tax the people.
Yeah, early in the pandemic, businesses started adding fees like a disinfection charge or a cost of PPE.
Bruh.
Yep. So this is them trying to hide inflation.
Yeah.
As much
Very
as possible.
desperately.
Oh.
And also making local businesses look like the bad guy.
Uber and Lyft adding surcharges of 55 cents to each trip. Well, they are, yeah, like increasing their surcharge per trip by 55 cents because of fuel. So that's just going to continue.
Yeah.
US has wasted over 82 million COVID vaccine doses. So I don't think the vaccine thing's over. They, have
Definitely
contracts
not.
for so much production and so much distribution that
That's true.
they're going to have to keep pushing these vaccines onto people.
Yeah, but a lot of them they're gonna go wasted anyway.
This is behind a paywall. Oh, what was this? Oh yeah, it was the conservatives predict gas prices will spike under Biden. Experts say those fears are overblown from November 12th, 2020. Okay. Yeah, let's not go for this. Let's start doing Reddit posts. Hillary Clinton, no one actually needs an AR-15. No one actually had 56 friends commit suicide.
10 out of 10 tweet.
North Korea, which is under sanctions for developing nuclear weapons in defiance of United Nations Security Council resolutions. So North Korea has taken over as head of a UN body aimed at striking disarmament deals between countries. You really can't even make this stuff up. This is like right up there with Saudi Arabia being in charge of the Human Rights Committee.
Yeah.
At the UN, but yeah, it's like they
Like,
gotta be doing this on purpose.
Yeah, they have to at this point.
Satire being better than the news. Man who accidentally left 300,000 guns for the Taliban gives lecture on gun control. Let's lay pipe like Castro did to your mom.
Because God knows that's the reality.
Following Poilievre's attacks, Bank of Canada official says it's accountable for failure to check inflation. So good on CBC for actually publishing this one. But basically the deputy governor of the Bank of Canada is saying that, yeah, the governor of the Bank of Canada, it's reasonable for the government to fire the governor of the Bank of Canada for not meeting their mandate. Whereas before, all the media was trying to go crazy about how Pierre Poilievre is trying to like politicize the central bank just because Pierre Poilievre said that he was going to fire the central bank governor because he didn't do his job. He failed. Big fat F. Right? Anyways.
Yeah, there was like a whole campaign against him initially.
So this is like, it's really, really obvious, right? Really obvious that the government should be able to fire a government appointed employee for not doing their job.
Exactly, yeah.
But the whole media wanted to gaslight you and make you feel like, oh, that's actually totally inappropriate. It's unprecedented. And if you don't agree with us, then you just don't understand, right?
Yep.
But right here, we get the deputy governor of the Bank of Canada. Presumably, he knows a little something since he's the deputy governor of the Bank of Canada.
Duh.
And yeah, he's just stating the obvious. Yeah, don't be gaslit by the media. Pierre Poilievre is totally
the
right.
reality. He's allowed to do that.
Have every gun control measure imaginable. Ban all handguns just because. Make it clear for the Americans that gun control will always be back for more. Make it clear for the Americans that the gun control will always be back for more.
Which is
true. It never ends.
It doesn't end.
Riot season, COVID season, Ukraine season. It's not gonna lick itself season. It's beginning. So before we've talked about there could be like a vicious cycle between gas stations and power outages. So you need fuel to fix power outages, but you need electricity to run the gas stations to refuel. We might also have work shortages, which are already starting across the East Coast. And we've talked about before how like the trucking, like trucker population is not being replaced. And I saw another article that I don't have here about how record numbers of truck drivers are quitting now because of the high fuel prices. So that's good. Imported seafood, dried fruits, canned good foods among foods under scrutiny by the FDA. So this kind of seems pretty monotonous, straightforward. Like, yeah, you can just, the FDA should be able to scrutinize imports. But basically, if you look at the new FDA rules, the government has given itself if you look at these here, it says detention without physical examination of all of these really broad types of foods. So basically, the government has given itself the authority to, without examining the goods, they can just detain those goods and then force the importer to prove that certain standards are met. And then the government can release them whenever they want to. So
Mm,
basically, it gives them a free reign to just confiscate all food coming into the United States
mm,
and to potentially just hold it in storage indefinitely for no reason.
mm. Wait, so is the FDA actually government related? I thought they were slight.
No, it's the Food and Drug Regulator Agency by the government.
Okay.
Um, Fact check: recent fires at U.S. food processing plants do not show plot to cause food shortage. Okay,
Right.
trust the experts. World Economic Forum: psychologists say a good life doesn't have to be happy or even meaningful. Okay,
Okay.
well,
This is definitely up Weef's,
it's gonna
you
be
know,
it's gonna be
narrative.
yeah, it's gonna be hard to have a good, happy, or meaningful life if they get their plan.
You just have to be okay with it.
Healthy young people are dying suddenly and unexpectedly from a mysterious syndrome. So just add this to the huge pile of suddenly
Onset.
skyrocketing causes of death among young people
Yeah.
since the vaccine mandate.
But they would never ever mention
Yeah.
vaccines.
What is a woman? Someone who identifies as one, you ignorant prigs. Okay, so what is it that you're actually identifying as? Aardvark, anything that identifies as an aardvark. Abacus, anything that identifies as an abacus. Anyways. Norwegian feminist faces 3 years in jail for claiming trans males aren't women.
Like this is the most this is like that type of like group of white people. Like they
Yep.
always do shit like
And
that.
meanwhile, seeding plants float away due to heavy rainfall in the eastern prairies. All the crops are dying. That's not good.
No shit.
Washington Post: have a little sympathy for the Federal Reserve.
Ah,
This article basically goes on to say that they have an impossible job. Okay, so
right.
let's get rid of the job.
Exactly.
Don't have central banking. Happy Pride Month to all of the leftists from your heroes. Marx:
Yes.
they are worse than pedophiles. Stalin: it's a pathological bourgeois vice. Mao Zedong: it's a capitalist perversion. Castro: a homosexual cannot be revolutionary. Che Guevara: hard work will make them real men. Hollande: there is a cure against homosexuality. So, civilizations rise and fall based on climate, and you can see that in this graph here. And just based on looking at this from a long-term scale, looks like we're pretty due for another transition period. Patrick Brown says he will not run under Conservative Party if Poilievre wins leadership race. I included this because if Poilievre wins leadership race, Patrick Brown shouldn't be allowed to run. And there's a lot of people that shouldn't be allowed to run. And there should be a huge purge. And that's going to be one of the ways you know whether Poilievre is serious about this or just in it for the power and glory, is how he restructures the internal politics, whether it is just purely to his own advantage or for to become more like ideologically like actually conservative and actually reasonable. We'll see. Republicans are doing backflips over Johnny Depp winning his defamation
Oh my
case.
god, this type of narrative keeps floating around. And it's kind of incredibly absurd because most of the people that were actually supporting him are leftists. Women, leftists, also domestic violence survivors. Like the media is trying really hard to make this man look like a piece of shit when he's just not. Like his ex-wife is a piece of shit.
They really think that they can decide reality.
Yeah, they can. They really truly do. It's kind of shocking how much society, or at least people who are in higher places like MSM or elites think they can just rewrite something without people questioning it or saying, hold on a second.
Yeah.
So it's just sad. It's like it's so blatant at this point.
Yeah. Russia destroys bridge over Ukrainian river, cutting escape route. Russia's been
Mm.
targeting weapons depots of Western weapons. So it just makes you think, who is bleeding out who here in
Yeah.
this situation?
I think there's a bit of both going on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we're not reading this.
Whatever it was. Do you remember?
Well, it's about how Quebec has this bill to try to become like more French.
Ah,
Anyways, doesn't really.
it sounds like French people doing French people shit.
Yeah. Beijing faces explosive COVID outbreak as Shanghai begins mass testing. So that's
Wow.
not over yet.
Not even shocked because we've seen how mainland China does mass testing and it literally does this every time.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
So the Chinese, like, it's wonderful. It's brilliant. The Chinese Communist Party has fully backed itself into a corner.
Yeah, it has.
They have to stick with zero COVID, but
Yeah.
they really can't.
Yeah, they really can't. It's not sustainable in any way, and all of their citizens are starting to realize that as well.
Yeah. Breaking news: Canada's Brooke Henderson wins ShopRite LPGA Classic. Fascinating. The Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario describes a weekend like no other as patient counts surge. So, even without COVID, the healthcare system was well on its way to collapse because of just, even just age demographics, really.
Mhm.
There's the fiscal situation and like the broader like macroeconomic context, and then just pure age demographics of millennials not replacing the baby boomers.
Mm.
Baby boomers being sick of the shit and retiring early.
Mhm.
Conditions being really favorable for retiring early. Everybody thinks they can borrow money forever.
Yeah.
And then millennials also feel like they can enter the workplace later after they've discovered themselves.
Yeah. The only problem is that there's also millennials out there that have tried to break into their own careers prior to finding themselves, quote unquote, and they just couldn't because boomers are still around. So it's just kind of like a lose-lose situation here.
Yeah. The face you make when they tell you to trust the science.
I hope this meme goes down in history because it's great.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of context that you need. I don't know. There's not a lot of context.
There's really
But,
not.
Like, you kind of had to have been there. I don't think this would be funny to anybody outside of this particular like month of history.
No, like, well, okay, maybe.
Anyways, that's all for this week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. And we'll probably have a baby by then.
Well, we don't actually, I don't know. We might not.
You think so?
I don't know. She could come the week after. I don't know.
Okay, we'll see. All right, bye everyone.